What's up? I'm Bee and welcome to my channel where we debunk harmful personal development and religious norms. Today's video is brought to you by my wonderful husband. This is a little quick personal thing. I'll put a timestamp in the description box in case you want to skip it. As most of you know, we are kinship foster parents, so we are currently taking care of 2 kids in our family, and when we got them, we had to, Rick and I had to consolidate our separate rooms because we each had our own space, and so now we're sharing a room. I'm also working from home, and with my new job, I got a ton of equipment. It's massive. The monitors that I am using at this new job are just ridiculous, but they're good. They're necessary. Anyway, I've gone through a bumpy past few weeks of not having a set filming space, and it has made it so hard for me to want to film because it's like, okay, so I'm gonna have to move this, set this up, make sure the lights go, blah, 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 blah. But had a little bit of a moment, a little bit of a breakdown of being like, oh, this is the one thing I do for me and I can't even do it. And Rick was like, okay, we're putting an end to it. Here's how we're gonna rearrange the room. You're gonna take my desk and this is what we're gonna do. And like, he took charge. I am so appreciative of him for laying down the law and being like, no, this is important to you, so here's what we're gonna do, even when I'm like, no, it doesn't matter, it's fine. So I appreciate him. I now have this beautiful big desk purely for YouTube stuff and filming, and I'm so excited, and it's gonna make it so much easier to film, and just it takes such a weight off of my shoulders. So I would like to dedicate today's video to my wonderful loving husband. Thank you, Rick. Moving on though, today we are talking about Brittany Dawn. Yes, it's been a while since I've mentioned her on my channel, but I recently saw a video by Monica Hayworth where she went into kind of Brittany's change in content and her retreats, and she really did a lot of research on that, and so I think that it was a really great video. I'm going to link it below. Feel free to go watch it. Show Monica some love. But I wanted to take a look at it from the perspective of someone who is religious and has attended many retreats. Now, obviously, I think this is an interesting topic. We haven't really heard much about Brittany Dawn since 2018, 2019, when it was found out that she was selling these personalized fitness plans that were literally just generic templates that were in no way personalized. A lot of people didn't even get them. When they tried to approach her about refunds, she was unresponsive. Eventually she was like, yeah, sign an NDA though, and you're getting a partial refund. It was a whole mess. It was a terrible situation, and Brittany Dawn handled it terribly. There's really no way to argue. I don't think that she did what the public would have wanted, which is coming out and being like, this is completely my fault. I made bad choices. I'm so sorry. Here's all of your money back. Like that would have been a great way to address it, but that's not the approach she took. And after that, she kind of quietly started flying under the radar. But she has found a new niche for herself, a new space as a Christian influencer. And we got to talk about it. So Brittany Dawn has gone full-on religious influencer. She does transformations about how I used to dress and how I dress modestly now, about remaining pure in this new relationship, aka not having sex with her now husband. They got married last week, I believe, so I want to say congratulations to them, but her now husband, Jordan Nelson, used to be a police officer, and he was sued by ACLU for just a brutal act of violence. There's a video of him sweeping a black suspect to the ground on the pavement, bashing his face, and he sweeps him and he bashes his face. It is brutal. It is so hard to watch, and it's disgusting. And so, I'm all about, hey, people can change, but the kind of person who would do that unprovoked, because the suspect's literally standing there, not fighting him, not doing anything, literally just standing there. And that's how Jordan chose to respond. That tells me a lot about your character and what's in your heart. And so it's very interesting to me that Brittany is so about love and being a Jesus seeker and empowering women and being all, oh, love and light, but that's her husband, and she talks about how much of a godly man he is. It doesn't make sense. Moving on though, she's gone all in on this new corner of the market and is offering a retreat. She's offered several retreats. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over her retreat because there's not a ton of information about it, but as somebody who has gone to plenty of retreats, plenty of camps, has bought tons of online programs, and I'm totally like not against people doing this. Let's see what we think about it. So here's Brittany's Instagram. She currently has 431,000 followers. Her bio says Jesus seeker, kingdom chaser, wifey and founder of She Lives Freed, letting God turn my mess into my message, presets, lashes, Amazon. And she has a link tree. You go here, you can see her Amazon storefront, her lashes, photo presets, supplements, social media management, my devotional, the Facebook community, her YouTube channel, Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook page. Now, something that's just very random is social media management doesn't come up. I'm assuming she doesn't do it anymore because it takes you to her website, but it just says there's a URL error, and I've been to her website multiple times. I haven't seen an option for this, so she probably needs to update it. But again, I've talked about this with Kimberlea in the past. When you have so many different services you offer, I think I personally get very dubious about the quality of all of those services when you are a single person, right? If you're saying like, oh, here's all of these like products that I'm an affiliate for that I use and love, so feel free to use my link, that's something different. You know, having like lashes or supplements, that's whatever. Offering a variety of unrelated services just doesn't give me a ton of faith in the quality of the product or the mentorship or the training that I'm going to get, especially when your biggest scandal, the thing that you got on Good Morning America for, is scamming your audience. Anyway, let's click my lashes because that's going to take us to her website. It's interesting because she has like 2 sets of lashes on there and nothing else. Just interesting to me. We go to retreats. The tagline is showing there is freedom in imperfection and peace in your broken pieces through sisterhood in Jesus. Now, this is all about a preference thing. Usually when you have an organization that wants to have like a tagline, it's supposed to be a little bit shorter so that way people can easily remember it and it can stick in your mind. I looked at like churches in my area, and all of their taglines, the ones that have them, are 5 words or less. The 2 biggest churches in my area, their taglines are for the valley, because we live in a valley, the valley of the sun. So for the valley and made for more, because you're supposed to have those like little tags that help people remember, just an objective criticism. Okay, so it's a few hours later. I first started filming this right before work, and now I'm on my lunch break, so there's been some time in between, and in that time, Savvy Writes Books also posted a video about Brittany Dawn. I'm going to link it down below. I haven't watched it yet just because I've been at work, but I'm definitely going to watch it later, and I'm sure it's awesome. So again, it will be linked in the description along with Monica's video. Okay, so Brittany's first retreat was in January of this year, which I have my own opinions on. Normally, I would give somebody the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, they probably did it with a really small group of people. They probably had people getting tested, wearing masks. Like, I'm sure that they took the appropriate safety precautions in order to make sure nobody is at risk. However, in like the height of the panoramic, Brittany Dawn attended a super spreader event saying that Jesus was going to protect all of them from COVID, and we shouldn't be afraid of COVID because then we're not true believers, essentially was the gist of what she put up. And I'm all for relying on your faith. I'm all for not living in fear. I've said that before. But again, you can believe in God and believe in science. And so knowing that Brittany has had such disregard for everything going on, it's sketchy. But let's just hear what she had to say about it. In January, we hosted the very first She Lives Freed retreat in Austin, Texas. Come October, retreat number 4 will be taking place. And I've looked online. I've tried to find reviews of these retreats. There's like people talking about the retreats happening, but nobody who's gone like publicly sharing their experience other than on Instagram. Brittany has like a testimonials and a highlight for that, as well as highlights for the other retreats. And so obviously you're there with Brittany, like you're gonna say positive things, but I just think it would be nice if I could find a review outside of that. This will be a gospel-centered retreat with other God-fearing women. The message of this retreat is one that I've held close to my heart for quite some time. Chiseled and called. I, along with other speakers, will be speaking on preparing for difficult seasons, how to stay faithful on your walk with the Lord while being chiseled, and how our seasons of difficulty lead to our kingdom calling. And guess what? If you don't know what your kingdom calling is, you're coming to the right place, sister. A sisterhood where all are welcome, every past has redemption, and every story has a purpose. Sounds like a nice little retreat to go to. Sounds enticing, you know. Everybody has difficult seasons, so let me go join in sisterhood and be with people who are going to help me walk through that. So all of that sounds fine and good. Let's look at a few of the details here, shall we? This is going to be happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Each girl who enrolls will receive details via email upon signing up. 15th won't be a full day. It's a travel day. It's a check-in day. Everybody gets their bearings, sign in. They'll probably have an evening session. 16th, full day. 17th, would bet morning session, early afternoon, maybe, and then checking out and leaving and traveling back home. So let's be generous and say it's 2 days worth of a retreat for $650. Now, within this, it says that it is an all-inclusive stay plus retreat with the exceptions of transportation to the weekend event. However, transportation and meals will be included in the duration of your stay. You'll also go home with exclusive She Lives Freed merchandise. Don't love that. Sounds a little bit high. Not saying it's completely unreasonable. Meals are included, so that's great. Transportation is included, so I'm assuming anything you do within the realm of the retreat, but you still would have to pay to get from like the airport to the Metroplex if I'm understanding it correctly. And so let's get some confirmation of what the schedule is going to look like. All of the details of the schedule, speakers, and much more will be sent out in the coming weeks to each girl who enrolls. Let's stop it right there. Maybe this is a little bit harsh because I know who Brittany Dawn is. But I guess if I liked Brittany, I would be willing to sign up without knowing who the speakers were. But really, that should be publicly available. This is happening in less than 3 weeks. This is coming up very quickly. So I think it would be a good idea to say, hey, here are the exact people who are speaking and here's the topics that they are going to cover. I don't understand why you wouldn't make that publicly available. I personally, regardless of if it was Brittany or somebody else, even if it was Taylor Stone, I've taken plenty of her classes, some of them pre-recorded evergreen classes, some of them live. I really like Taylor Stone. If I'm going to spend $650 and she's saying, oh, we're going to have guest speakers or guest healers coming in, I want to know who that is. If it's a one-off session, okay, fine. I trust your judgment on, whoever you're choosing as a breathwork facilitator as a bonus session. That's fine. But this is a live in-person event where you are going to have to pay to travel somewhere, and you're going to hope that these speakers are spiritual leaders that you can learn something from. So I would want to know that because they're supposed to be a big draw to the conference. Anyway, after you book your ticket, expect an email from the SLF team, everything from the schedule to a packing list, the meals you'll be enjoying, and so much more. We are here to make sure you and your heart are ready to have one of the most incredible Christ-focused girl weekends. And then we get to the actual schedule. So October 15th, not even getting a lunch. Dinner and speaker, worship on the lawn, group sharing games. October 16th, breakfast, speaker, lunch, quiet time, dinner, main event, speaker, and worship, and then open share. October 17th, breakfast, closing regards, and prayer. So it's really 1.5 days. If we're being generous, 1.5 days of this retreat for $650. I get that money is objective, and that might not be a lot to somebody, and that might be a huge amount to somebody else, but trying to look at it from a typical cost standpoint, this is a social media price is what I'll say. If you were going to an event like this directly through your church, it would not cost $650. Straight up, would not. But because Brittany's a social media influencer and because she's got this platform and it's oh, girls from all over the country are coming, she's gonna up the price. Additionally, She Lives Freed is a registered nonprofit. So it's if you create your own company, obviously you're going to pay your own salary out of that. You would be the CEO, the founder. Nothing wrong with making a business, especially when you're going to be holding events like this, because legally it's probably better if a company is liable than if you are personally liable. But with a nonprofit, You get some nice tax breaks. You get some nice benefits from labeling it this way. And so anytime I see a really high price for something like that, I'm like, oh, she's really using it to like line her pockets. Interesting, because Brittany wants to come on here and pretend like the past didn't happen and she's so different and things have changed so much, but history tends to repeat itself. So if you were dishonest with your audience's money in the past, what on earth? And you haven't made it right. You have not made it right in my eyes anyway. Why would I expect you to be different now? To me, I think she just kind of ran away. I think she decided, oh shoot, I can't make my name in this space anymore. It's tainted. Let me move on to something else. But that's just my opinion. So that's pretty much all of the information that we have about this, other than like additional FAQs like safety concerns, and apparently transportation will be provided throughout the weekend with the exception to your actual flight. You won't have to worry about transportation at all during the week if you are driving, and we will provide further details on parking, etc. closer to the retreat. So I'm curious who's picking them up from the airport. Like, you're going to coordinate the time that everybody's flights come in. Are you getting them Ubers? Are you having a shuttle? What's up with that? Like, that's something that I would be really concerned about, especially safety wise. Something that really, I don't want to say concerns me as if it's like this matter of like public safety or life and death, but it's just something that catches my eye. If I'm paying for something, I want to feel confident that the person I am purchasing that from or the organization that I'm purchasing it through, they know more than me. They will be able to teach me something. I want to feel like I am going to gain knowledge and be able to kind of soak up the wisdom of the leaders facilitating the event. And so that's why I want to know who these speakers are, because I don't want this to be mean, right? I'm just being straightforward. It's not meant to be mean in any way. But I feel like the way Brittany presents her faith is a little bit immature. And I've said this multiple times. I stand by this. I'm not judging where anybody is at in their faith journey. Like, your journey is yours. It's not mine. It's not mine to tell you that you're wrong or you're bad or you're doing it incorrectly. It's really not. But when you're sitting here presenting yourself as a religious figure that other people can look up to and can follow, I feel like it's really important to have a more complex understanding of the things that you are talking about. And looking at Brittany's Instagram and her reels especially, I feel like she doesn't quite have that. And so I would be very skeptical about the level of instruction and guidance I'm going to get going to a retreat that she is putting on, especially if I don't even know who the speakers are. So I want to give a few examples. I won't do too many, but let's just take a look and maybe you can see what I'm talking about. Going back to kind of the sporadic nature of some of her business ventures, Brittany Dawn did have a podcast called She Lives Freed with another person named Allie Williams. The whole point of this was to be for those two to join forces to empower women to boldly be who God created them to be, beyond circumstance. They are getting real, transparent, and discussing the hard stuff so you can know God's goodness deeper without making the same mistakes they made. And she has that tagline, if you want to see the freedom and imperfection and peace in your broken pieces, this is the place for you, sis. Welcome to the She Lives Freed sisterhood. I've tried to find this podcast and I can't find it on Spotify. I can Google it and pull it up on like a backlog kind of, and there's only 2 episodes, so I'm not sure if, I don't know, Brittany and Allie did a few episodes and they were like, yeah, this isn't for us. We don't get along. We're having trouble coming up with topics. I don't know, but it was just an interesting thing that I noticed. So this first TikTok I want to look at, I did see in Monica's video and she made some really great points about it. But again, I want to address it because I am also making a video about it and I'll be real brief. There's other ones that I want to show. So let's just watch this one and get it out of the way.
I want to be married so bad. And you want to know why? You want to know why I want to be married? I'll tell you why I want to be married. I want to have sex.
Okay. I want to be married. I want to be married so bad. Do you know why? Because I want to have sex. To Brittany, This is probably a very lighthearted, funny thing. She was married before, and so obviously she's had sex before. And in this relationship with her current husband, they've apparently decided to not have sex, to remain pure. I hate that because, like, what does that even mean? Like, that gives me no practical guidelines on what's okay and not okay in intimate relationships. So it's a much deeper conversation than just remaining pure. But with Brittany, it's like, oh, it's funny because, you know, I've had sex before. I'm choosing not to right now. Oh my God, like, I'm going to marry this man and I want to marry him and I'm so ready to have sex again. Like, that's why it's funny to her. People who have grown up in the church, though, historically, really have this pressure of not having sex until they're married. And so that can lead to just marrying the first person you date, getting married super young so that way you can have sex, like getting into relationships and making those relationships get serious very quickly and then getting married just so you can do that, just so you can feel like, okay, I got married, I did it right, now I can have sex and now it's fine. And those relationships don't always last. Of course, like, lots of relationships don't last, but I've seen this pattern where people get married really young and they don't understand what they're getting into. And as somebody who got married at 21, I could tell you it was very different than what I thought it was going to be. But I feel very blessed and lucky that I am still married to my husband. We both dated a lot of people before we got together, and so when we met and when we started dating, we were just like, yep, this is it. That's not always the case. People can rush into relationships that are toxic, that are abusive, that are harmful, where bad things can happen purely for the fact that they're wanting to do it right and get married to have sex, and it can destroy parts of their lives. And so if you are going to be a religious leader, you're going to position yourself as a religious leader, that is something you need to at least consider. Maybe put a little extra thing in the caption other than "there's a light at the end of the tunnel," laughing, crying face. Like, expand on that. Come on.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but when the devil hits you when you're already down on your knees, it isn't a good shot. It's a cheap shot. And he only does it because he's afraid of what you'll do when you get back up on your feet. He doesn't win. He just wants to make you think that he can.
I don't really have a problem with this one. That would align with my ideology, my theology, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's a common point of conversation of, like, when you're just getting hit over and over and over again. People compare it to the story of Job in the Bible, where God gives Satan permission to basically tear this man's life apart. And, you know, Satan's like, he only loves you and only worships you because his life is so good. Let me at him. And God's like, no, he's that's not why, but go ahead. And so Satan does. Like, his family dies, his stock dies, he gets boils all over his body. He's got friends being like, well, you must have screwed up. Like, you did something. That's why God's punishing you. And Job remains faithful throughout the entire thing. And so people bring that parallel. It's like Satan is afraid, or I feel like Satan's such a cartoon character at this point, but this is my personal belief. I think there are evil energies in the world and evil spirits in the world that do try to bring people down and try to cause destruction. And so it's like, when things are already happening, you're already down on your luck, they're coming at you to keep you down because they know that you have light that you can spread. So I really don't have a problem with this one. I just think it's funny because it makes me think of her being in, like, a victim complex about everything she lost when she scammed her fans. Like, I can see her being like, this was the devil trying to test me. Nah, you were a dishonest person and you didn't take accountability for what you did. Okay, so this is on the She Lives Freed Instagram, and this the caption is, already ready for the comment section of this truth. Guard your heart, Satan is lurking and comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So it says, trends in our generation that open doors for demons. Horror movies, musical artists with demon influence, curses on songs, segs before marriage, yoga, manifestation. Alright, opening doors for demons. Can we say fear-mongering 101? Yeah, okay, you need to be protective of your soul and of your spirit, because again, I do believe that there are evil spirits who will try to mess with you. But horror movies, fine. You can say that like movies like The Conjuring or Ouija boards, stuff like that, those things can open up dark portals. Okay. Musical artists with demonic messages. For some reason, I don't buy into that. I just don't feel like that's a massive threat to me or the public in general. I can't really defend it because I don't believe it is a valid argument. But moving on after that, she says sex before marriage. We've had this conversation a little bit where I think if you are a religious person, you believe that your soul is involved in everything that you do. And so that includes intimate relationships, and you need to have discernment in who you allow yourself to be intimate with. That is my belief. So I don't think I would put it like that like this is opening up a door for demons, but I can see where she's coming from. As far as yoga and manifestation go, this is very commonly an evangelical standpoint that I really don't understand. A lot of people in evangelical churches do think it's dangerous and do think, oh, it's that new agey BS, like it's nothing to do with God, it's demonic. People argue that a lot. But let's think about it. Yoga, why? A lot of people who practice yoga literally just do it because it's a nice way to improve flexibility and be healthy, like, and get fit. Got hot yoga. I used to have a hot yoga membership like years ago. It's so expensive. I loved hot yoga. So fun. Not in the moment, but like after, you feel great. So like most people just do it as a form of exercise, but people who are taking it as a very spiritual thing, you're sitting there relaxing, connecting to your soul, connecting to yourself. And who says that you can't pray to God while you do that? I don't know that there's any backing for yoga being demonic or being of Satan. How? How is it satanic or how is it demonic? How does it open the door for the devil if you're sitting here practicing gratitude and finding your inner peace? Like, I really don't get that. Number 2, manifestation. There are at least 2 separate accounts in the Bible that I would argue support manifestation that come directly from Jesus. So if you remember, the first 4 books of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those are the Gospels. Those are written by people who lived with Jesus, as in, like, they were his close disciples, his followers, his friends. He spent so much time with them, and they wrote accounts of his life based on their personal experiences with him. So in 2 separate books, God says, ask and it shall be given, knock and the door shall be opened. This is from John 14:12. It's red letter words. Oh gosh, you can't even see that, huh? Red letter words, that means Jesus said it. Believe in me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves. Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father, and I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks the door will be opened. It's 2 verses right there that, in my opinion, support manifestation. These are like much more nuanced conversations that we should be having. Okay, now for this one where she says Satan comes to deceive, and the caption says, Christians, beware of this hand symbol. Satan is the father of lies and comes to deceive. Oh God, risky. Okay, so that first statue or the picture is a statue of Baphomet in Detroit. It was like set up or created by the Satanic Temple there. And I think a lot of people hear that name and they're like, oh God, they're like worshiping Satan. When really, from my understanding, the Satanic Temple isn't even really a religious organization. It's kind of like an anti-religious organization, so it's not like they're sitting here worshiping evil, but I think the name is meant to kind of grind your gears and pose like a juxtaposition to religious temples and religious organizations. So this article is about the unveiling of that statue. And it says, when asked whether her group is a religious organization or rather an anti-religious organization, she explains it's less of a church and more of an affinity group built around what she repeatedly refers to as satanic principles. It's not the dogma you might expect. To quote from the group's website, the Satanic Temple holds to the basic premise that undue suffering is bad and that which reduces suffering is good. We do not believe in symbolic evil. Most vitally, though, the group does not promote a belief in a personal Satan. By their logic, Satan is an abstraction, or, as Nancy Kaffer wrote for the Daily Beast last year, a literary figure, not a deity. He stands for rationality, for skepticism, for speaking the truth to power, even at great personal cost. Doesn't really sound evil to me. Again, I think the name is kind of meant to catch you off guard and be a little bit contrarian. Potentially, just look a little bit deeper into this. Not everything's a conspiracy to get you possessed by the devil, Brittany. And it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous to be in that headspace where everything is spiritual warfare. Everything's out to get me. Everything's evil because it's a way of controlling you. It's putting fear in you of possession, of, there's all these things that I'm doing wrong. I can't do these things. This is dangerous. And like the more control you have over somebody, the more you make them afraid, the more you can get them to do what you want, or to buy your service, or to go to your retreat, or to be a loyal follower and not question you. I don't want to spend too much time diving into all of her reels. Some of them are innocuous enough. Some of them I question very heavily because it further promotes the victim mentality that I perceive that she has. A lot of them are about her husband, which I've already expressed I find very skeptical, so I don't want to like belabor the point. But I just wanted to give a few examples of the way in which I feel she needs to flesh out her understanding of religion a little bit better. And again, I'm not trying to judge where she's at, but I think it's really, really important if you're positioning yourself as a leader to do that research, to look into it a little bit more, to be like, what's the point of bringing fear in about X, Y, or Z? What good does it do? Is it even true? Is it unnecessary to make people afraid of these things? Just a thought, just something that maybe she could improve on, because looking at it from an outside perspective, even if I didn't know about the fitness scams, I wouldn't feel like this is a person who could lead me to a deeper understanding in my faith, and I wouldn't go to her conference. But that's just me. That is all I have to show and go over with you guys. Please feel free to leave your thoughts down below. I'm very curious if you think that she's done what she needs to do to redeem herself in the public eye, if you still don't trust her, if you would consider giving her another chance. Obviously, she has shifted niches very wildly because it used to be about fitness. Now it's about Jesus. So just any thoughts you have, leave them down below. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you're subscribed already, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.